Hey gamers, today we're going to look at Panjun, the expansion to Gugong. I don't know if I'm saying that right. Alright, so this is all that comes with the expansion. First off, you're going to get some more of these gold tokens. You'll put them out in the paint colors that match the paint drops on there. You notice there are 4 paint drops now because there are 2 extra boards you can play with. They require 4 paint drops. These are pretty powerful ones. Of course, they cost 4 of your servants, so of course they'd be powerful. You also get some extra mojo cards that basically interact with these 2 game boards and do other things. There's a lot of take that, a little bit more interaction between the players. You get 2 more starting cards, the little empty fan ones that you can put in these areas. Of course, you'll shuffle them all up, and this will just give you enough to start off the game. Of course, you'll have more of these travel tokens that you can pick up. There are dark brown ones for a reason. It's one of the expansions there. They have 2 player boards. If you're playing with both if you're playing this one you would use, if you're playing with this expansion, this is a track expansion. On your way to the Emperor, you'll just randomly select one of these to use. And basically what this means when you get to this point on the track, this is the new symbol that's on there, it says, hey, whatever your guy is landing on, if you're landing on one of these, look, you move your initiative token up 1, 2, or 3 times if your man's standing there in the morning phase. Of course, later on, as you see, this basically has the same number of spaces to get to the throne, but it gives you rewards, and then penalties as you go up. So you get a few good things, but then you got to get some bad things later on as you're moving up. Some of them have little permanent ones that once you get to the throne room, you have permanent bad things that can happen to you. You know, here like get jade, get a cube, lose jade every morning. So it kind of forces you to move up the track, and then after that, every day you're losing a cube. That's not good. But like I said, you may not want to play with those 2. You can randomly select. The other side this one has 7 spaces. This one has 5 spaces, but it has requirements. It doesn't give you rewards or anything, it just has requirements. So you have to have at least 3 travel tokens, or you have to have one of the 3 in-game paint cubes on there, or you have to have 4 travel tokens to get up, and you always must keep these qualifications because later on you can get bumped down. So this kind of forces you to do certain things as you get up the way. So it's a little bit tougher to do, but in a way it's less spaces. So both of these are really fun, and that's what this is. You'll just place this over the board, regular game board, to remind you to look and see where you are on the Emperor's track. The other one basically ties into this. This is one of my favorite expansions in it. Comes with some jade, comes with some extra worker cubes, comes with these type people here. I don't remember what they're called. But once you play here, it says, hey, you can place one of your cubes over in this dock or this dock. Or, what this means is you can lose 1 space down the Emperor's track. So you can go down the Emperor's track. You don't have to play with all these expansions, but you can. You can go down the Emperor's track, and then you can put 2 blocks in one of those spaces. And here it says, hey, 1 block can be a double block too. And basically what happens is a few things. First off, you're going to randomly select one of these 3. Now, I don't know why they gave you tokens, cardboard cutouts to prop up all 3, because you're only going to use one of them in the game. The other ones you're putting in the box. But anyway, let's say if you randomly chose a 2, what goes here where the outline is, it'll stand up here. But whenever someone plays a number 2 card, this triggers. It will also trigger, if you play with this expansion, you put this over the second half of the scoreboard at the top. And it also triggers at the end of each round as well. And what happens is if blue has the most cubes here, if it's tied, then no one gets it. But if blue has the most cubes here and here, let's say, they can take their reward. They can take 2 generic servants, that they can use during the game, which is really neat. Quick way to get servants. Or, what's even better, some jade. Jade is very hard to get, so that is going to be a well thought out spot for that jade. Or you can come up here, and this is another thing, you can get one of these workers. What this does, you can cash it in and get back-to-back actions, which can be very powerful too. So all that's really neat. And you can also come here, of course, and pay the cost and get some kind of super uber bonus. There's a lot of them in the game. Like there's one that at the end of the game, it doesn't matter where you are on the Emperor's track, you get to grab a spot at the top. So these number 4 ones are super powerful. powerful. Now in the other expansion, this little pitchfork, this is the Peasant Uprising expansion. This is from 1 to 2 players. You can flip it over if you want to do 4 players or more, 4 or 5 players there. But basically what you're doing is you have these stack of these pitchfork tokens down here. You'll have kind of these over to the side. And if you are playing with this, I would suggest that you dig through there and make this one of the goals. This is a 2 paint spot. Put this in there because it gives you these little tokens when you place your man there. And I'll explain what these do in a minute. But what you're doing is every time you go here, every time you play a card, you get 2 cubes. Oh, just free 2 cubes. However, you have to put a token right here. Or you can move down from the Emperor's Track 1 and get 4 cubes. So this is a great way to get cubes if you want cubes. Of course, you're putting another token there on the board. Now eventually when this fills up to get to that player count, you're going to flip them all over, and they come in numbers of 0 through 4, I believe, and then you're going to have to play a battle. Now of course if you have this, you can add to that number, or you can choose to take away from that total number. Now, why would you want to add to that number? I'll tell you in a minute. What everyone does is in their discard pile, their regular player board discard pile, they're going to pick up those cards and they're going to randomly select one of those cards. Now, they have to beat that number. So let's say this was a 2-player game, and these were the 3 that went out, okay? So they have to beat an 8. And if I want to add to that or subtract from that number, I can, or add to a card, excuse me. I can subtract and add to a card if I want to. And when you reveal your cards, like let's say these were the 2 cards that randomly got revealed. Oh, a 6 plus 7, that's a 13. That's great. Now, of course, I can add or subtract that number when I play this, and I'll tell you why this is good. If you end up beating that number, then what you're going to get is you're going to get to take that card back in your hand. The person who played the lowest number card will get to take that card and put it back in their hand. However, if you didn't beat it, let's say instead of that 7, let's say they played, I don't know, 2 3s. I don't have 2 3s here. Or a 3 and a 4, but that was an 8, let's say. All right, so if they didn't beat it, then everyone will move down the track except for the person who paid the highest amount. Whoever paid the highest amount doesn't have to move down the Emperor's Track, but everyone else does. So Peasant Revolts can be disturbing. Now also you see, Peasant Revolts will also happen if you play the number 1 card, because they don't like that you're buying expensive fruit and not from them. So when you play the number 1 card, anytime the number 1 card is played, you put a pitchfork on there. Anytime on the travel board, if you take one of these gray or brown tokens, the peasants get upset. And it even tells you that too. Hey, peasants get upset when you go there, when you get one of those gray tokens, or when you play that number 1 card with the fruit on it. That's every time you'll put one of these pitchforks on there. So they're going to revolt anyway from you playing the 1 or grabbing those tokens anyway. But when you go here, you always plant a token there. So that's how the Peasants Revolt works there. Now, like I said, each one of these you can play all together or separately. It doesn't matter. Playing them all together isn't that big a deal. And of course, the rule book explains some of these icons in there, and it's fairly simple. Final thoughts. What do I think about the game? Well, I don't know if I'm saying the title right, but I love Gugong. Gugong was a fun game to play. I have it in my collection, and when I heard about this, I was like, yeah, let me check it out. There's a lot to like about this. First off, the docks. That's my absolute favorite one. I love that. Everyone was going to the docks because you're getting more servants or you're getting that jade. Jade is hard to get. So it's an easy way to get jade. Plus, whenever that card is played, if you have it in your hand, other people may forget you have it. And so you're trying to maneuver your way in there to get that jade or that extra back-to-back player. Man, no one was getting that one for a while, and then I think I got it and did back-to-back moves, and I was like, oh. And so then people started putting cubes over there, and that back-to-back lady, whatever, I think she's worth some points at the end too. I forgot to mention, I think she's worth 4 points. Could be wrong about that, but anyway, if you don't use her at the end, either way, that's my favorite one. Now the peasant one we played these all together. You can play them all together. It's not that big a deal. The peasant one we played, and it was fun, but I noticed a lot of people did not go there because they were afraid of that peasant revolt. And that was kind of interesting, but I'll play with that one from now on. I like the Emperor's Tracks. I thought those were really good too. People went up both of them. The risk reward was one that was very popular. I went up the one that had requirements you had to move up to and move past to get to the next requirement. And once you get to the Emperor's Throne, you're fine, you know. But I found that one neat because it's a quick way to get up there, but you have to do some big things before you get up there. So that was really cool too. There's a lot of good things here I like. One of my favorite things is they included something to move if you can move your person down the throne and gain a benefit instead of spending a cube. I wish there was more of that in this game because I feel like you can always make it to the Emperor's Throne. If you focus on it, you're going to make it there every time. Everyone's going to make it there. There's plenty of time to do it. However, that moving down a track, that's kind of risky, but you don't want to use one of your servants. I wish there was more of that in here. Plus, a lot of us use the boats, and then by the last round, no one needs to use the boats because they've gotten all their rewards. I wish there was something else to help you out with the boats, like make the boats more special, give them more special abilities, you know, that you may, or more options there. So those are the two things I think it's missing. Other than that, if you like Gugong, yes, you should get this. This is a pretty good game. It's going to change Gugong. If you don't like Gugong, no, it just complements the game. But I'll be playing with this expansion, all the expansions for forever because I like this game. Oh, and by the way, all this stuff fits in the base box. That's a plus. All right, gamers, that's all the time I have for now. But until next time, you know what to do. Game on! Thoughts. What do I think about the game? Well, dropped it.